Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. The Abrego Garcia clown show is rolling on today. At this point, you'd have to think Democrats have some sort of a humiliation fetish. It now appears nothing will stop this ridiculous crusade. In the last 36 hours, we learned a lot more about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who Democrats say was unjustly deported back to his home country of El Salvador, where Nayib Bukele put him in a gang prison. Abrego Garcia's ties to MS-13 come not only from a confidential informant, but Abrego Garcia was also arrested with known members of MS-13. He was wearing Chicago Bulls attire while living in Maryland, a sign of being in good standing with the gang, wearing Bulls attire. Abrego Garcia was saved from deportation by a judge because of fears that he'd be targeted by a rival gang back in his home country of El Salvador. Have you not yet seen enough to understand why this man is no longer in this country? The Democrats have not. Here's more. Yesterday, we learned that the wife, who's been crying for Abrego Garcia on national TV and claiming that the Trump White House disappeared her husband, was granted a protective order against her husband. In 2021, she claimed Abrego Garcia punched and scratched her. She was afraid to be around him. It appears this happened while she was pregnant with his child. Recently, she's singing a much different tune.
Everything they're saying, it's wrong. My husband is a loving father, and what I know is he's an amazing husband, an amazing father. That's who he truly is.
Amazing husband and father. It's also insane that Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, after learning the raw story about this man that he had claimed was innocent, he's still in El Salvador, still there tonight, doing news conferences from this empty room. And of course, he was on Rachel Maddow last night.
My goal, Rachel, is to make sure that we keep the spotlight on this issue because I think it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable to continue to keep a person who has not been convicted of a crime in the worst prison in El Salvador. I may be the first member of Congress here, the first senator, but I can assure you more will be coming. And you cannot continue to keep this man locked up in this worst prison in El Salvador when he hasn't committed a crime. And so we're going to keep at this.
Yeah. So they're not going to give up on this, is the point. And more Democrats are coming in. Bear in mind that this is an El Salvadorian citizen who's now back in his home country. El Salvador has a legal system. If he's innocent, he can make that case. We don't control CECOT prison. We don't control El Salvador's legal system. He's back home. He's back in his own country. He was illegal here. He was going to get booted out no matter what. So Chris Van Hollen, the senator from the state of Maryland, is wasting his entire week fighting a legal battle in a foreign country, a battle that is fully untethered from the United States. He even said he wants to bring Abrego Garcia home. He wants to bring the illegal from El Salvador home. This is how these people look at your country. They don't think we have any borders on this country. They just think this is for everyone. The world to loot. He said it with a straight face. Let's bring him home. High-profile Democrats are actually jumping on this bandwagon along with him. Take a listen.
This whole thing with Mr. Abrego Garcia, it's that old wisdom and terrifying is if you're not speaking up for this man, there will be no one left to speak up for you.
Yeah, Tim Walz citing a poem written in 1946 about the complicity of Germans in helping the Nazis for this story. That's desperation. Liz Warren is making this her fight as well.
They want to have the American people say it's okay to just disappear people.
Right.
And somehow they think if they can make up lies about him, if they can do whatever they want, then the answer will be the American people will settle for this. We do not disappear people in the United States. Because here's the thing. If they can disappear Mr. Abrego Garcia, then they can disappear you.
Pocahontas says we can't disappear illegal aliens that they invited in. New polling shows Americans want everyone out, every illegal out, and totally disagree with her sentiment, especially the dangerous ones. More than half the country thinks every illegal crosser needs to be returned from whence they came. This is arguably the worst political decision the dying Democrat Party could even make right now. They're just making themselves sound crazier and crazier and crazier. They're tethering their identity to protecting a violent gang-affiliated illegal alien. They're fighting harder for Abrego Garcia than they would ever fight for you. Do you ever see this kind of passion for a beleaguered middle-class union worker in this country? Of course not. Think of how many Americans right now are going through something. They could really use a fight like this for them. These people don't care. But now that it's clear Abrego Garcia is a very distasteful illegal, now that all of this new information has come out, which really makes them look ridiculous, some of them are just moving the goalpost.
He's also a serial abuser. This is not the type of individual I don't think any one of us would want in our country. He should be deported.
But respectfully, Sir Michael, we can't make it about Kilmar. Like, that's just one person.
But that's the case we're talking about.
That is, but I guess if we look at the macro and not the micro, and just look at the process of this, because he's not the only person there.
So we're, emptying out all of CECOT prison in El Salvador to bring them all home? Is that what she wants to do? Bring them all out? Free them all? Well, let's take a closer look at who we're talking about here. There they are. Can we let them stay at Tiffany's house? Even James Carville, who usually in moments like this is kind of a voice of reason, has just lost his mind on this issue. Take a look.
People say, well, should we really fight on this turf, or should we fight more on ordinary people? And this we should fight on. If they do this to him, it's an old saying. First they came for whatever, and then whatever, and then they came for me. You know what? You know why you remember that saying? Because there's wisdom in it. I think this is worthy of being on the top agenda of things that we're going to fight over. Is get this guy back home.
Home. He said it again. And then he used the same quote that the DNC obviously sent out to everybody, to Walls, to Pocahontas, to everybody else, that same old quote. And then he said, we're going to bring this guy back home. Ain't that rich? You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.